Most parents do not think of love as a line item in the budget. When an adult child moves back home, it rarely begins with a spreadsheet. It begins with a phone call, a quiet conversation, a bedroom that used to be empty, a parent saying, "Of course, you can come home for a while," and in that moment, it does not feel like a financial decision. It feels like family. A son needs time to get back on his feet. A daughter is trying to get through a difficult season. Rent has become too heavy. Debt has started to close in. A job disappeared, or a relationship ended, or life simply became more expensive than one person could carry alone. So, the door opens, but the bill does not arrive all at once. That is what makes it so easy to miss. It arrives in small pieces, a grocery receipt that looks a little higher than last week, an electric bill that keeps creeping up, one more car insurance payment, a phone plan that still includes everyone, a credit card minimum covered just this once, a medical copay, a tank of gas, a few household items added to the cart without thinking much about it. None of these expenses feels dramatic on its own, but money rarely becomes dangerous because of one dramatic moment. For many households, it becomes dangerous through small costs that start to feel normal. According to Pew Research Center, 18% of adults ages 25 to 34 lived in a parent's home in 2023. Pew also found that 44% of young adults received financial help from parents in the past year. So this is not some unusual family situation happening somewhere else. It is part of the quiet financial reality inside many American homes. And for parents in their 40s, 50s, 60s, or already retired, it raises a question that can be painful to say out loud. How do you help your child without slowly weakening your own future? Because the visible problem is easy to understand. Many young adults are trying to build a life in a world where the basics have become harder to afford. Rent is high, transportation is expensive, debt can follow them for years. The ordinary steps into adulthood can feel slower, heavier, and more uncertain than parents remember from their own youth. The U.S. Census Bureau has reported that fewer than 1/4 of adults ages 25 to 34 had reached for traditional adulthood milestones, moving out, working, marriage, and having children. That does not mean young adults are failing. It suggests something deeper. The road into adulthood has become more expensive, more delayed, and less forgiving, so the adult child comes home, maybe after college, maybe after a job loss, maybe after a breakup, maybe because rent became impossible, maybe because credit card debt was growing faster than income, maybe because they needed one safe place to breathe. At first, the plan sounds reasonable. A few months, a chance to save, a chance to reset, a chance to stop falling behind. But inside the parent's household, the math changes. The empty nest is no longer empty. Food runs out faster, utilities rise, the car may be used more often. There is more laundry, more heating, more cooling, more gasoline, more household supplies, and often, more emotional pressure around money. The home still looks the same from the outside, but the financial weight inside has changed. Bankrate reported that 61% of parents with adult children had made financial sacrifices to help them. AARP has also reported that nearly 3/4 of parents provide some form of financial assistance to adult children. Those numbers matter because they show the real story is not only about young adults moving back home. It is also about parents absorbing costs they may never have planned for. And here is the part that makes this so difficult. Family support often does not feel like spending. It feels like love. A parent may not count the extra groceries. They may not write down the insurance payment. They may not think of the spare bedroom as a financial choice. They may not say the word support because the support is spread across dozens of ordinary moments. A little help here, a covered bill there, a few months of breathing room, another extension, another quiet compromise. And because it is family, many parents do not track it the way they would track a loan, a mortgage, or a credit card balance. They tell themselves it is temporary, and sometimes it is. But sometimes temporary becomes a season, then a pattern, then a new financial reality no one ever formally agreed to. That is where many households begin to lose control without noticing, not because helping is wrong, not because the adult child is the enemy, not because the parent made one reckless decision. The danger is quieter than that. The danger is unmeasured help competing with retirement savings, emergency savings, debt payoff, and the parent's own stability. For older Americans, the pressure can become especially serious. The Social Security Administration reported that the average retired worker benefit in April 2026 was just over $2,000 per month. For someone living on a fixed income, even a few added expenses can matter. A higher grocery bill may not look like a crisis, but when every dollar already has a purpose, small increases can create real strain. For parents still working, the pressure may look different, but it is still real. They may still have a mortgage, they may still have car payments, they may still be carrying credit card balances. They may be helping aging parents while also helping adult children. They may be trying to rebuild savings, recover from inflation, or get ready for retirement. And then, just when household costs were supposed to go down, they begin rising again. This is the emotional center of the issue. Parents do not want to turn away from their children. Most would rather carry more themselves than watch their child struggle. But time matters. A younger adult may have decades to rebuild. A parent in their late 50s or early 60s may not. Someone already retired may have even less room to recover. That is the silent tension inside many homes. One generation is trying to restart. The other is trying not to run out of time. A fictional example might look like this. A 58-year-old couple lets their 29-year-old son move back home after rent becomes unaffordable. In the beginning, they expect the cost to be simple. A little more food, a little more electricity. But months pass, and they are also helping with car insurance, medical copays, and credit card minimums. No single bill feels impossible, but together, the bills begin to push their own goals further away. Another fictional example could be a 64-year-old widow receiving Social Security and working part-time. Her adult daughter loses a job and moves back in. The arrangement protects the daughter from a worse situation, and the mother is grateful she can help. But slowly, the mother begins using savings for groceries and utilities. Nothing feels dramatic, but the cushion she worked years to build starts getting thinner. Or consider a 52-year-old father who never writes one large check. He just keeps saying yes to small things. A phone bill, a repair, a grocery run, a minimum payment. Each one feels manageable because each one is small. But he never adds them together, so he never sees the new monthly obligation forming right in front of him. That is why this topic is so hard to talk about. It is not just about numbers. It is about guilt, pride, silence, fear. It is about the parent who wants to look strong while privately wondering how much more they can carry. It is about the adult child who may feel ashamed for needing help. It is about a family trying to protect each other while money quietly tests everyone. The trap is not always poverty. Sometimes, the trap is appearing comfortable. The house is still standing. The bills are still being paid. Dinner is still on the table. Everyone may look stable from the outside. But inside, one person may be absorbing the pressure quietly. One person may be delaying retirement contributions. One person may be using savings. One person may be putting more on a credit card and telling themselves they will deal with it later. And later has a way of becoming expensive. The practical reflection is not that parents should stop helping their children. That would be too simple, and for many families, too harsh. Family is one of the reasons people work so hard in the first place. Helping can be an act of love, protection, and dignity. But help becomes more dangerous when it stays invisible. Many households may need to see the support for what it is. Not as a judgment, not as a punishment, but as a real financial force inside the home. How much is being absorbed? How long has it been going on? What is it replacing? What is it delaying? What pressure is being hidden because no one wants to make the conversation uncomfortable? Because when an adult child moves back home, the family may solve one financial problem while quietly creating another. The child may gain breathing room, but the parent may lose margin. And when retirement already feels uncertain, margin is not a luxury. It is the space between stability and stress. For many Americans, home has always been the place where family returns when life becomes hard. That is not something to mock or dismiss. There is something deeply human about it. A home can hold second chances. It can hold forgiveness. It can hold people through seasons they could not survive alone. But it can also hold bills no one wants to name. And for parents between 40 and 70, the question is not whether they love their children. That part is usually already clear. The harder question is whether they can keep helping without quietly giving away the future they spent decades trying to build. There may not be an easy answer, but there is value in finally seeing the cost clearly. Because most people do not fall behind all at once. They fall behind through small payments, small delays, small compromises, and small decisions that looked harmless at the time. And sometimes, the most expensive bill in the house, the one no one wants to call a bill.